And we are live. Welcome back to After Hours with Dr. Vincent and Christian.
And we just had our first blooper because you went on live early and people were watching you adjusting the microphone. So it was a behind the scenes After Hours with Dr. Vincent.
Yes, and luckily, we're not doing anything or saying anything because, as you know, in broadcast, hot mic incident is a thing.
Yeah, but the Facebook guy, the Meta guy, just got done in the White House, I think, on that, and also Putin got picked up
Discussing
on
longevity.
We should discuss longevity.
We should.
At some. How do you live forever? Oh my gosh!
Actually,
Tell us how, Dr. Vincent.
I know it should be a separate episode, but I also want to dabble a little bit into it today because what do you think in terms of the ethics and practicality of living long and living forever, basically?
I think it'd be terrible.
Well, first of all, can you afford it? Because we have this thing called
you can't.
the cost of living crisis, right? And the life expectancy at the moment is like, what, 80 years old?
Basically, every 20 years, stuff doubles in price. So if you stop working even like at 70, which is a scary prospect, and then you've got to live for another 70 years. I mean, wow.
You literally work to live, whereas or live to work, basically.
Yeah, it'd be a bit crazy.
And the other way around. But anyway, today we are going to talk about something that is very personal to me because I struggle as far as I know, as early as I know in my life, especially during the time of puberty, I struggled with bad skin. I suffer from a condition called rosacea. And this is something that you cannot cure, you cannot solve, you can only manage.
But this is also something that actually everyone is kind of interested in one way. They're either secretly interested in it or they're kind of overtly interested in it, and both men, women and kids. Like, I can't believe so many kids now use moisturizer from like 12 years old or steal their mum's face treatments and all that sort of stuff. There's a real sort of culture around it.
And not only moisturizer, I don't have any issue with kids using moisturizer. It's the anti-aging component of the skincare that is worrying because what business does a 12-year-old have when it comes to looking ageless and fighting fines and lines and wrinkles? And I do think that there is a whole machinery behind this sort of kind of need and expectation when it comes to skin, because it doesn't matter how your skin looks like. You can ask 10 people and 10 people will tell you that they wish that their skin is better at this, looking like this, or things like that. Because don't forget that the whole skincare is an industry. We are one of those players in the industry, and we're trying to do it ethically. But this whole marketing machinery behind this crave, this craze, this perceived need to look perfect and flawless all the time. And basically, I would like to make a title for our episode today, the skincare trap, because your skin is never going to be good enough.
Well, it's even like permeating the sort of bro discussions, because I remember, like, even with my university mates from 20, 25 years ago or whatever, they'll now talk about their skincare regimes, just confidentially, just quietly, in quiet times. We'll talk about our skincare regimes amongst each other and that sort of thing. I've become popular as an owner of a skincare company.
And I mean,
I get secretly asked for skincare, and don't tell my wife. Just can I have some?
But this is the thing, though. Like, it's almost like everybody wants it, whether or not they admit it. And those group of people in the manosphere, in the bro culture, even when they are like really rough or rough looking, they still somehow buy into this idea that skin should look blemish free, skin should look smooth, skin should look radiant. And I do think that people only think about skincare from the vanity aspect. Whereas when we enter the industry of skincare, I made sure that we enter it and we work in it for all the right reasons. Because I shared just now that I suffer from a condition called rosacea. It can literally affect your confidence. It really, at some point in my life, made me feel depressed. And I really do think that what I want to attack or tackle these skin issues from the therapeutic and functionality aspect. Because the very reason why we entered the skincare game was because one of our customers who religiously use our powder antioxidant, the activated phenolics, suffer from a really bad sunburn, and he tried everything that was marketed as after sun or um, uh, sunburn care. Nothing worked. And what he did, surprisingly, I didn't even know why he thought of doing that, because we certainly didn't. He mixed our activated phenolics powder with water.
Because it's about inflammation, isn't it?
That's correct. But he very smartly mixed this powder of ours with water, making it into paste and apply directly onto his skin. And he got in contact with us, and we made a cream especially for him. And within 72 hours, his skin was actually better than before it
We
was
we even had
burned.
pictures. We even had pictures.
We had pictures. You can go. I'll include it in. I'll include it in our uh, episode recap, if you care to see the proof. Obviously, Andrew, the name of the gentleman, cleared us to use his pictures, because he himself was really impressed. And that was the origin story of how we got into skincare. Because we got into it. I personally believe that you need to be happy with how you look, because part of the feeling good is looking good, and it does play a lot in terms of confidence. However,
No one wants to look old. And I, I understand if people have like blemishes or other conditions, but I think like you're talking about obviously helping with a medical condition, but I think there's just all the people out there who just kind of want to just look a little bit younger than they are, and that makes them feel a little bit younger and makes them maybe a little bit more active and all that sort of thing. So it's kind of, it's a booster, isn't it? It's like just
it is.
treating your skin right is a booster, regardless of whether or not you have a condition or whether or not you just wanna, take care of yourself.
That is correct. However, what I am being, how do I say this? My concern as a scientist and as a health practitioner is that in a lot of cases, people use things or do things for their skin, but at the detrimental effect to their health. Let me give you an example, because it's not only now in 2025 where we're being bombarded with TikTok influencer or Instagram influencer, YouTuber and stuff like that. Even back in the day, Queen Elizabeth the first, for example, uh, although historian could never really agree, but allegedly, um, Her Royal Highness used white lead, to apply
But that but
into
that
her skin, and that
that
was
was common.
really bad.
That's proven. That's how they were making that.
What I'm saying is that even back in the day, vanity is a really strong uh, motivation for people to do things, even after
But is
they
it
find out that it is actually bad for their
but
health.
is it vanity or is it about self-confidence? Because that not necessarily the same thing. I think it's okay for people to feel self-confident and to have, some things that might help them feel that way. As long as obviously you're not doing your body damage, and we'll
I think
get into
I
that.
think it's always in practice. It's always a combination of two things. It's really hard to silo the vanity aspect as well as the confidence aspect when it comes to the motivation of people looking after their skin. And I agree that vanity aspect is not always bad. Feeling confident in your own skin is really, really good. But at the same time, we also need to have boundaries and limits, because your skin is fine for a lot of cases when we're talking to people. It's the industry that makes billions convincing people that your skin is never good enough. And I don't want that, especially for young kids, to think that they need something to look a certain way, because at its very core, skincare should be about therapeutic and functionality. When people talk about skincare, it should be about the health of your skin, because you can't expect your skin to glow, to be radiant, if the skin is not healthy. So
Okay.
that is the issue that I have with this industry of multi-billion-dollar industry of cosmetic and skincare.
Okay, so maybe to start with, let's not talk about our own skincare. Let's just talk about some basics kind of in general. And then I'm going to ask a couple of really super controversial questions later on that I've always wanted to kind of know about. Um, so I think the most basic question about skincare is, what from a scientific perspective, skin being your largest organ, all that sort of stuff. Um, what should you make sure isn't in your skincare, like in the actual products that you're using? What are the actual big like no like ingredients that you don't want to be putting on your skin?
Okay, before I answer that question, because I can see that some of people are actually tuning in live, and some new names that I didn't recognize before, welcome. And I also just want to let people know that if you're watching this podcast with a video and I'm looking that way, I'm not actually being, having wild or crazy eyes. It's because Christian is sitting there and I'm having a conversation with him and he doesn't want to be on
I
camera.
refuse to come on camera.
So to answer your question is that scientifically, you don't want things that are essentially an irritant. I know that there has been a lot of studies that goes into the classification of things that can be carcinogenic, that can cause issues down the line, that can destroy your protective barrier of the skin, disrupt your microbiome, and also reduce the sensitivity, because our skin is also a communicator for our whole body, and certain skincare can dull that sensors. And I'm talking things about paraben, sodium lauryl sulfate, as well as things that potentially can be acceptable in a certain dosage, say for example retinol. However, a lot of people think that retinol is this magic ingredients that somehow will make you look younger, but not knowing that if you use retinol and go out in the sun, you're actually accelerating the sun damage. I do think that power is knowledge, and when people know better, they will choose better.
But what about all those like acids? Like there's every different type of acid that people like are putting in skincare and then getting people to put all over their face. Surely putting an acid on your face isn't a good thing.
Well, certain acids, they are named acids because of their chemical conformation. And by chemical conformation, I mean chemical structure. Not everything that's chemical is bad, as well as not everything that is natural is bad
What?
or
So just
good.
just because they call it an acid doesn't mean it's like an acid,
No,
like melting something.
no, no, no.
Really?
For example, chlorogenic acid, even though it sounds scary, it is one of the most potent and powerful phenolic antioxidants that is part of one of the 8 antioxidants that make up the broad spectrum
So that
antioxidant of
that
our activated
that's
phenolic.
not melting anything.
It is not melting
That's
anything.
supporting or something.
No, it just has a conformation of oxygen and hydrogen molecules that makes them an acid as far as the chemical naming goes.
Okay.
So, say for example, hyaluronic acid is something that is proven, clinically proven to be really good in terms of hydration, in terms of making sure that it helps with the structural integrity of your skin. I'm talking about collagen and elastin. The issue is that just because hyaluronic acid is good doesn't mean that all hyaluronic acid is good, because as we got into formulating our skincare, we learned that hyaluronic acid, unless it is a combination between a small and big molecules, it will just sit on your skin. And the very characteristic and property of hyaluronic acid that can be good for your skin can actually backfire. So hyaluronic acid can absorb and carry the amount of water up to 6 to 10 times of its own molecular weight. When it is within your skin tissue, is good because it plumps your skin. It makes sure that your skin is well hydrated. But if it sits on top of your skin without it being absorbed, it basically draws out the moisture and the hydration from your skin, making you look dull, older, and saggy.
And you mentioned before parabens. So everyone knows there's a lot I've even heard of parabens. So, but that's petroleum, isn't it? That's like oil.
It is.
That's like oil from the ground.
It is petroleum and petroleum based, and paraben is something that was used very widely as a preservative because it's so effective in terms of making sure that things don't grow in your skincare. And
Also, it's a preservative in
it
the
is
skincare.
preservative.
It's not
Yes,
actually to do
it
anything to your skin. It's a
no, it
preservative
is
for the.
preservative.
Oh, really? Okay.
And there's also a lot of things that that I don't know if I should talk about this, but the tagline of this podcast is "Let's get personal," where science gets personal. So I want I want to I want to take you back a little bit in terms of our thought process when we first came up with our first product of AppSkin, which is our skincare line.
Okay, everyone knows the skincare line. Just.
Now, okay, uh, the reason why I want to talk about this is because remember when we were formulating it and we consulted people who have had years and years, decades even of experience in skincare, and when they found out that we put 10% of our active, they were all like flipping
Well, this
because
is this is this is obviously the danger of us not having a discussion before each podcast. I wanted to ask you about the difference between skincare that really doesn't have signature actives in it and skincare that does. And there's a couple of like very famous ones that have, their kind of own active ingredients. And that's where I like to think we sit. Like we have a unique active
yes,
ingredient
I,
and
I
we
want to talk
sit in
about
that
this,
group.
but what I was going with this sharing this piece of history when it comes to formulating our skincare was because a lot of times skincare, 80 to 90% of skincare, the ingredients are not actually the active ingredients. So all of this popular skincare that you might use that may have used in the past, the active ingredients range from zero point 0.5, 0.25 to like 1 to 2%. So, so when we first came up with the idea of making sure that our active ingredients is 10% out of the entire bottle, the entire quantity of the formulation, everybody was really surprised. The issue with skincare that has a lot of additives, that has a lot of perfume, synthetic perfume, those are the things that are actually causing issues with your skin, especially long term, not necessarily the active ingredients. Obviously, some active ingredients such as retinol can be bad when it's being used improperly, or also mercury. For example, this is like 20 years ago when mercury was still part of the formulation of skincare. But I agree with you. When skincare has a signature, in our case, patented ingredients, you have something to offer that actually are clinically relevant when it comes to skin health. Because I don't know if people have been following the sunscreen saga down here in Australia when the consumer group was actually testing the SPF rate of popular skincare, and they didn't actually measure up to what they claim. And the ironic thing out of this story is that four very popular sunscreen brand were reported to have the same, if not similar, if not the same formulation, and they're all being recalled and pulled out the shelves. Sure, that is the main story, but the secondary story is that each and every one of these brand claim that they had a unique ingredient, a unique formulation that are different to every other sunscreen in the market. But now the cat is out of the bag. They are actually identical when it comes to their formulation. So they don't actually have signature or patented formulation. They only have signature and patented, or not even patented, but signature marketing tactic.
Yeah, quite extraordinary. And I think that maybe extends beyond sunscreens a little bit because I mean the skincare industry spends probably what 40% of its expenditure not on making the product, it's on marketing the product and
And
that's
whenever
how it works.
and whenever it's being endorsed by the celebrity, you know that you're actually paying for that celebrity instead of the product. And surprisingly, you probably have heard this myth, and I want to set the record clear that in a lot of cases, the packaging of your skincare costs more than the inside, which is the reason why it took us a while before we actually figure out that we don't want to go with the trend. We want to start a revolution when it comes to skincare and skin health.
Well, we'll come back to that. But what I did want to ask you about is something you touched on just really quickly: essential oils. So I didn't know about essential oils until you sort of educated me as we were formulating and that sort of stuff. But just because it's like an essential natural oil doesn't necessarily mean it's great for you.
Well, a large proportion of allergic reaction when it comes to skincare can be traced back to the inclusion of essential oil in the formulation. Because essential oil, just because it's something that is so harmless, it can actually be very, very irritating to your skin.
Cause inflammation. Is
And
that
it
what
causes inflammation, it causes hives, it triggers your antibody reaction. And this is the reason why, say, for example, rosemary extract is an excellent antimicrobial extract or substance that are used as preservative agent. But when it is being introduced topically onto our skin, it can really disrupt the microbiome. It can destroy the barrier, and in a lot of cases, it can trigger an allergic reaction.
So you have to be a little bit careful, especially if you have sensitive skin, with essential oils and also, I'm guessing, fragrances. And stuff like
Fragrances,
stuff.
and it is really important to make sure that the fragrance is not synthetic chemically made fragrance. I don't want people to think that just because it's fragrance free, then it is automatically allergen free. There are a lot of products out there that utilize this good quality, naturally derived and extracted fragrance that they're fine for you to use. But at the same time, some products, instead of using fragrance, they use, say, for example, essen- lemon essential oil to give that citrusy smell, can actually be bad for you or for your skin because of the essential oil that they are using.
Okay, so maybe let's talk about some of the sort of unique actives instead of and then sort of the general and the difference between sort of the general skincare, which is all more sort of backed up by marketing. What are some of the unique actives out there? I mean, the ones that come to mind, obviously our own, but the ones that come to mind like SK2, like
So the Pitera extract. So the Pitera extract. This is something that if I am going to be, I know the dream is to be the number one active ingredients when it comes to your skin health. But if I'm going to be the number two, the only extract that I am willing to lose to would be the Pitera extract, because the the the, the Pitera extract is something that is so unique and so smart in the way that it is not only it has a three-pronged uh, approach when it comes to skincare. It helps with hydration, it helps with tone and radiance, but at the same time, it maintains the skin barrier, because what it is actually is almost like a prebiotic and probiotic for your skin.
and,
And
and that
that
was
is
from
from rice, from
rice.
rice,
Okay.
and it is fermented. It is something that helps your skin to literally boost its ability to defend itself when it comes to environmental stress. It also helps the cells to fight off inflammation, free radicals, as well as in accelerating the regeneration of and renewal of skin cells. And it has a lot of similarities with activated phenolics from apples. But if I am to lose to one particular ingredient when it comes to skincare,
If someone was going to pick up a skincare product other than ours, we're kind of okay almost with them picking up something like that, because that actually will work. That's got a real active ingredient in
it
it.
has a real active ingredients, and with all of their marketing and everything, you are lucky to buy at the price that they're selling it, because other companies probably will sell it triple the price of that.
Yeah, but there's not many more like that, are there?
No, and if you look at the long term sort of kind of survival or shelf life of these active ingredients, SK2 Pitera has been around for many, many decades.
Yep.
This is not a hype. We're not talking about just a trend. Uh, Again,
It's not the new,
it's
extended cell PB46,
yes, it is something that
something.
it is something that has been around for many, many decades. It has been used by millions of people. People know and people can see the difference after they use this the products with these active ingredients. And there are other active ingredients such as I mentioned just now, retinol or bakuchiol, which is the natural alternative of retinol, which gives you the effect of effectiveness in a very short period because it is actually an irritant. It literally takes off the first layer of your skin. So it gives you that sense of renewal, but it's not something that is sustainable. You should not use retinol or bakuchiol for an extended amount of time. There's a reason why people who are skin sensitive or people who are pregnant or breastfeeding are being told not to use these active ingredients. So if you can't, I don't really agree with the saying that if you can't eat it, then you shouldn't put it in your skin. But there is truth to that saying because if something is so harsh, like benzoyl peroxide for acne, if something is so harsh for you and you can't use it for long term, maybe you shouldn't start using it.
Yeah, so, there was another one. I'll tell you them. I'll tell you. You're gonna not like this. So before I had a skincare company, and was involved in that and was a bit more educated about it. The moisturizer that I quite liked, I thought was effective for me, was one that sort of contained, and I'm cheap. The one that contained lanolin. Lanolin,
Yes, lanolin, which is a byproduct from sheep.
is that good or bad? Or I always thought it was kind of okay, but I don't know.
Well, lanolin is a really smart byproduct of having a sheep farming industry that otherwise would have just been uh, thrown out.
Is it bad for you though?
It is not necessarily bad. It has been used for many, many decades through generation as a barrier. It's an emollient. So basically,
Okay,
it seals in moisture.
okay.
And if you can follow the jumping ball, that say for example, lanolins are usually being produced in places like New Zealand, where it's really, really cold because it was traditionally used as an emollient to keep the moisture, to seal in the moisture when the environmental factor is very harsh, meaning very, very cold. But for the rest of us, it's probably not something that you want to use every day because being a sealant, uh, it seals your pores. So it doesn't let your skin to breathe during the really, really harsh winter, sure, you want to close off your pores so that your body keeps that moisture and hydration in your body. But when you are out and about, when you are putting serum, moisturizer, and sunscreen, you really want to let your skin breathe, and lanolin doesn't allow for that. And that's the reason why usually when people start using lanolin, they feel this instant boost of hydration and they keep using it. As a matter of fact, they will put a little bit more, a little bit more. And 2 weeks down the line, suddenly they break out and they don't actually know what have caused it.
Okay, okay. So I mean, I don't use it anymore, but yeah, I guess it was the hydration that sort of attracted, and it's not vegan. So people that are
Yes,
conscious about those things, they're not going to be wanting to use that.
that's correct.
Okay,
The other ingredient that's also really interesting is called squalene. So
okay.
squalene is a really good emollient as well, but in the way that it's non-comedogenic. It helps active ingredients to be dispersed within the medium. It helps with the evenness of sunscreen, for example. So those are the things that squalene, that like I mentioned, Pitera, those are the active ingredients or the ingredients that you can include in in the face cream, body cream that actually boost the activity of the
They're the ones that are worth.
functionalities.
They're the ones that are worth the money because I mean, isn't all skincare meant to be kind of functional treatment type thing? That's why you use it. You want to use it to look younger and all that sort of stuff. I mean, basically, it's a
That is exactly my point when I said that skin care should not just be about vanity; it should also be about therapeutic and functionality. Because when you put something onto your skin, you want it to work. It's not. Otherwise, you might as well just put things like olive oil or canola oil on your skin if you just want that sort of kind of like moisturizing or hydration level, right? And as a matter of fact, this is what was used in the ancient time. Say, I'm talking about like things like people like Cleopatra and people in the ancient Egypt. But what I'm saying is that what you're saying is very true. When you put something onto your skin, you want it to work. You want it to deliver results, especially with this really smart marketing and sales gimmick that promises the world. Sometimes they just fall short. Or, for example, the best marketing, in my opinion, is Kylie Jenner. So Kylie Jenner, uh, and I think I can say this because she really opened up about plastic surgery and everything. So if you see Kylie Jenner before and after, and then she's selling lip kit, so people subconsciously think that by using her product, it will change their lips from like really thin to like plump and full. Not not realizing that actually it's not the product, it's plastic surgery. So this is what I hate about this industry is that the people who they use
It's
to
sometimes a little
represent.
seriously deceptive. I mean, seriously deceptive.
Yes, but they are doing it so smartly in the way that, you kind of like, you didn't realize until someone is actually spelling it out for you.
Okay, so we're about half an hour, and yeah, I'm trying to keep these to 35 minutes. So I'm going to hit you with some quick fire sort of questions.
Hit me.
That's okay. Okay, men and women. Is there any difference in the skincare that they require?
Not really.
Okay, you know those mud things that people put mud on their face and then they peel it off or whatever. Does that do anything?
Maybe once a month.
Should you use skincare every day?
Yes.
And how many times a day?
Twice a day, and only 3 steps: cleaning or cleansing, treatment, whatever the treatment is, and then moisturizer plus SPF.
Okay, so when you say treatment, you're talking about like a serum or something.
Like a
One of
serum
those-
or eye cream
What's
or spot treatment.
the acid one that I keep mispronouncing?
Hyaluronic acid.
Hyaluronic acid. That's an example of a treatment, but
Only
like,
the right one.
okay, only the right one. But also, our active ingredient, activated phenolics. That's sort of similar. That reduces inflammation, that sort of stuff.
It does work similarly with hyaluronic acid, but it is more intracellular rather than just floating around in the tissue. So activated phenolics work really, really well because what it does is that it integrates within your skin tissues, and it boosts the functionality and defense line of our skin cells. And that means that it accelerates the skin turnover, but not in the irritating way like retinol. It also helps your skin to fight against free radicals because free radicals are everywhere. And number 3, it reduces inflammation because a lot of people don't know inflammation really places burden on your skin's ability to regenerate itself. Once you remove the burden of inflammation, your skin will function optimally, and before you know it, it will manifest in even skin tone, the erasure of age of signs of aging. It helps with the skin structure, which means that it provides lift and prevents sagging, and as well as elasticity.
Okay, so when you're cleaning because we're still on rapid fire, when you're cleaning your face, what temperature should the water be? Is it okay just to wash my face in the shower with the steaming hot water on?
It's you can use warm water, but you should always end with cold water to close off the pores.
Oh my God, I'm not doing that. And how often each day should I like wash my face?
Depending on your skin type, twice.
Oh, I didn't ask you about skin type. So what, like, I don't know, what, oily, dry? Is that it?
Oily, dry, and combination.
Okay.
And it really depends also with your gut health because 70% of skin health originates from gut. And I know this is a rapid fire question, but I really, really want to talk about a little bit about collagen because I said that 70% of our skin health is from what we eat, including collagen supplement. And I have to tell you that and you know this because I resisted formulating and selling collagen product until I found the right one.
Yep.
And you have been wanting collagen for many, many years because it is something that people are looking for.
I thought we could do a better one, and
And we did.
It just took time. It just took a little bit of time to work it out.
We did, because the problem with collagen is that when the collagen is not in the right formulation, it's not protected with the right companion active ingredients such as active phenolics, your body will just ingest it, digest it, and use it for energy instead of building your skin and making sure that your skin structure is intact and supported. So, collagen is important, but only if you take it in the right formulation, because otherwise you might as well just eat egg whites or protein shakes or meat or tofu.
Okay, so I said I was going to ask you a controversial question. Finish up on this. So we have our AppSkin brand and the rest of it, but my mum just refuses to use it. She won't. I don't even give it to her. She's not going to use it because she wants to buy one of these ones that is like $200, $300 plus, and they're the ones that she wants to use. And how do you convince someone, even when it's your mom, to actually use something with like a real active ingredient and not just all the marketing behind it, and not spend this enormous amount of money? Like how do you educate someone on that?
So usually it is our closest and most loved ones that are the hardest to convince, because Christian, don't forget, your mom gave birth to you, watched you grew up, watched you function as an adult, and you are probably the last person in her mind that would.
That she would consult on skincare.
That's correct. So in her mind, what do you know? Never mind the tens of thousands of people who use our skincare on a daily basis.
And how much time and effort we went into.
Yes. So I think there's a little bit of that, but at the same time, price also sets their mindset. And I know that if we sell our product at like $90 or $120, we probably will make more money from the upper echelon of people when it comes to skincare. But I hate the idea because you know when we build our supplement line, we want to work based on the principle that you shouldn't have to be wealthy to be healthy. Want, and you agree with this, we don't want our skincare to be, we don't want to be gatekeeping skincare, because I do think that people should be able to access good quality skincare not only at the higher price. We want to make it affordable, an everyday thing, because when I first came to this country in 2008, it was winter, it was in June. Coming here as an international student from Indonesia, where our currency was a lot weaker compared to Australian dollar, I couldn't afford skincare. The only skincare that I could afford at that time was Vaseline in 2-liter jar, and it made me felt really, really shitty. And I don't.
Sorry, I didn't know you. I would have lent you a few bucks.
Thank you. I don't. But that's not the point. The point is that I don't want people to feel that. I don't want people to think skincare is a luxury item, because when you think about it, looking after your largest organ in the body shouldn't be a luxury. It should be a basic need, and basic needs should be affordable and accessible.
And we want people to be able to access something at the sort of highest quality. But I still need to convince my mum to use it.
Well, seeing is believing, and I do. I have to say that all of my family members, they all use AppSkin, and
maybe you're just seen as more reliable than I am.
Well, that is very true. I am more reliable than you are when it comes to this qualification, because I spent years researching cellular health.
You are a scientist, so I'm not. And also, I have to admit, I sometimes forget to use my skincare each day. So sometimes I skip a day, but that's okay, isn't it?
Well, no, you should. It should be a ritual. So we were talking last week about.
I know
about ritual. You need to put it into a habit, because once you do it as a habit, you wouldn't actually skip it, or you wouldn't forget about it.
I think there's other people are much better than that, better at that sort of thing than I.
And also much worse.
And also much worse. But I will keep using our skincare, obviously. But yeah,
And also just as an out of topic thing, a lot of people have been asking me what is that counter behind me. That is actually an Instagram counter. So every time you follow, for each follower for us, Dr. Vincent on Instagram, that counter will go up. And if you compare the numbers on the counter from our first episode, we have gained quite a number of followers. So thank you so much. And the more people
we're
following
not
that,
at Kylie Jenner yet, but yeah.
no. Did you know that at one point the traffic authority in LA actually uh, did their announcement through the Kardashians' Instagram compared to theirs because it has a lot more reach
It has more.
compared to yes.
It had more reach. They
So
put out Amber Alerts through the Kardashian
they did.
Instagram.
They literally did. So I mean, this is why I said that there is always two. It's a double-edged sword when it comes to notoriety, and I just hope that those people are using this power for good.
Awesome. Okay.
On that note, we also wish and hope that we use this platform for good. So if you do have questions, if you want us to break things down scientifically when it comes to your conundrum, your health topics, the hot topics when it comes to health and wellness in the news, please do send us a message, send us a DM, or email us at hello@askdrvincent.com. I promise you we will get to them. If we read every single message, note, email, and sometimes even physical letter when you address it to us, because we know that your support means the world for us. Until next time, I'm Dr. Vincent and Christian. See you. Bye bye.